Hi everyone, thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. I'm excited to tell you guys about the Grand Fire Trine that's over us between May 13th and May 15th. Today we are going to do astrology and a pick a card. Your options for pick a card are 1, 2, and 3. First, we're going to talk about astrology. We already did an all sign for this with members this morning. That is available in the description down below for all-star members. My all-star member videos are filmed live, and once I'm done finishing the live stream, I make it private for members only. So if you want to catch a free live stream of the members only content, just turn on notifications from my channel. The Grand Fire Trine energy is activated when the moon entered Sagittarius on May 13th at about 1 a.m. This energy will continue until May 15th and beyond. The energy culminates overnight between May 13th through the 14th, and this isn't a normal planetary cycle. It's a synchronicity that began in June 2024 and will continue through December 2025. When personal planets are in fire, everyone benefits. Even if you don't have fire placements in your chart, which is Aries, Leo, and Sag, that energy will get filled up with the Grand Fire Trine energy. Overall, the Grand Fire Trine energy has a lot to do with relationships. Sparks fly in relationships. People will be making romantic moves on each other. There's magnetic pull towards certain people and individuals. This is a time of high social positive interaction. This is a moment of spiritual enlightenment that is coming on the heels of the full moon, micro moon in Scorpio that happened on May 12th. Whatever's happened to you for the full moon, micro moon in Scorpio, you're sort of elevating that energy and drawing conclusions and enlightenment from those experiences. This is a time when people will be making fast decisions and acting out of compassion for themselves. This is a time when you will come across as charming and charismatic. Some people will be making quick, impulsive decisions that may lead to unforgettable experiences. Under this energy, you want to remember you attract what you chase, so be very focused on the energy that you're after. The fire energy activates action, emotion, and desire into alignment. So what is the fire energy of the personal planets? The personal planets are the planets that are closest to the sun. It's Venus, Mercury, Mars, and sometimes the moon is considered a planet in this context as well. They govern our first-person experiences. Think of the lower arcana in the tarot, and sometimes they align all in the same element, which magnifies the energy of that element. Your personal planets are what you experience firsthand. They change the fastest through the signs, and when they align in the same element, this intensifies your personal experiences. Whether you have a lot of transits in the fire signs or if you have none at all, this transit will boost your energy in the houses that the fire signs are in charge of, with overwhelmingly positive energy. So what happens if you don't have fire energy in your chart? If you don't have fire energy in your chart, these fire transits will activate the houses that are usually dormant. This energy fills up the houses that are fire houses in your chart. And in some ways, you actually benefit more than someone who has lots of Sag, Leo, or Aries energy. So what is a Grand Fire Trine? A Grand Fire Trine is the alignment between your emotions, which are represented by the moon, Venus, which represents your desire in Aries, your action, which is represented by Mars in Leo. This is the perfect time for alignment. This creates a surge of positive, actionable energy and personal alignment. Not only that, but you are in collective harmony with others. This means that the alignment of the desires of many people align at this time. This allows us to work harmoniously with each other towards everyone's individual goals. So between May 13th and 15th, the moon will enter Sagittarius, and this will activate a longer energy that began in June 2024 and will continue until December 2025. The moon activates this energy by aligning your emotions with desires that you had going back to 2024. The moon also helps with spiritual meaning making. This means that in Sagittarius, you respond to the events of the full moon in Scorpio. Sagittarius is the higher octave governed by Jupiter. It's the state of being presented with life experiences and then deriving from that spiritual messages for personal empowerment, such as new ways of looking at things and reframing situations towards your benefit. This is a powerful energy, so whatever you focus on, you will attract. In other words, what you are chasing, you are going to magnify. So focus on what you want and try to avoid your fears, judgments, to manifest better outcomes. What's really cool about this energy is that it's working on a timeline. The inner planets are all in fire signs, which is actually not consistent astrologically. Some years there are no transits in which the inner planets are all in fire. The last time this happened was November 2024, when Mercury, Venus, and the moon here and were in Sagittarius and the moon was in Leo. This was Mars' position before it had gone retrograde. In November, it's likely that you had a vision about what you wanted to do. However, there were things in the way stopping you. You felt inspired, but for whatever reason, you didn't feel like you could get to where you wanted to be. A big reason why you felt the blockage in your desires had to do with Chiron. Chiron has been in Aries for several years, helping us work through self-esteem issues. Chiron is an asteroid that's called the wounded healer, and in Aries it has a lot to do with self-esteem and identity. Chiron is humbling us, but then also helping us to rebuild ourselves in a more authentic and genuine energy. Between May 1st and May 10th, we had the second iteration of the personal planets in fire since November 2024. Venus in Aries and Mercury in Aries joined Mars in Leo and Chiron in Aries. This is a largely helpful transit that is helping you believe that you can achieve those things that you desired back in November. Venus in Aries brings self-compassion and helping you to heal shame and limiting beliefs about worthiness. Venus's transit through Aries brings compassion to yourself and helps you believe that the things that you want, you can achieve and have. On May 13th, the moon entered Sagittarius and completed the Grand Fire Trine. At this time, Mercury had now entered Taurus and was no longer in a fire sign, but this was still an extension of the personal planet energy that we've been talking about. The Grand Fire Trine between the moon, Venus, and Mars will form exact on the evening of May 13th through the 14th. Moon, which governs emotions, helps us to connect to November 2024 and those desires that we wanted but felt that we couldn't receive. After May 15th, the moon will continue on and Venus and Mars will form an exact trine on May 22nd. This is a furthering extension of the same energy. The Venus-Mars trine supports taking action, achieving goals, and maintaining momentum even after the moon leaves Sagittarius. Venus-Mars trine governs creative passion, magnetic attraction, courage and love, making peace in relationships, and a charismatic social time. During this transit, you will resolve conflicts, initiate romance, or collaborate creatively with others. Between December 12th and the 14th, 2025, we will once again experience a concentration of the fire energy in the personal planets. Mars, Sun, Venus, and Mercury will enter Sagittarius, or outcome for the aspirations and actions you began in November 2024 and continued to practice through May 2025. The energy that you put forth now in May will lead to results in December 2025. On December 19th, 2025, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius. It is likely that this new moon is also connected to the energy that we've already described. So if you're waiting for a specific outcome, two energies associated with this fire energy, you can look to December 19th for a new beginning or an outcome. Likewise, if you look back to June through July 2024, this may have been the beginning of this energy. So even though in November you saw some inspiration towards which you've been working towards, this actually began between June and July 2024. Look back to that time and see if something began for you there. This is a catalyst point to the energy that we're facing now. Okay, look at these tarot cards and choose which one you want, and let's go do a pick a card. Before I forget, you can always do this energy and a little keyboard warrior action as well. If you chose deck 1, here is your message. First, we have the Queen of Pentacles. Then we have the 8 of Cups. Then we have the Page of Swords. And then we have the Moon card. Then we have the 6 of Rods and the Knight of Rods. And then you have the Page of Pentacles. And then we have the Page of Rods. I think all the pages are present, which is rare. Oh, 3 out of 4. And then we have 6 of Cups. All is well that ends well. Okay. So we have the Page of Swords, Page of Rods, and Page of Pentacles. Right away, that tells me that there are lots of young people involved in your situation. At the center of this is a victory. So whatever circumstances you have been under, there is going to be a positive outcome that is also confirmed or reinforced by the 6 of Cups, which is Sun in Scorpio. It represents that there is sentiment there that is of a positive nature, positive memories or positive attachment that people feel towards each other. A circumstance involving the Page of Swords, if you've been watching my videos, this Page of Swords has been around. They have caused in other readings, and I'm thinking this is the same person, a lot of mishaps, stirring the pot and causing conflicts. And I think that this is the tail end of the energy that I saw in previous messages, in that they caused harm, and here's the separation, which is the Queen of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, which is Saturn in Pisces, and Page of Swords. I think that whatever has been under attack has been preserved. However, there is this emotional disconnection. So this means that people felt warmly towards the Page of Swords. And I think after everything, there's a detachment. So you liked someone and now you're not so sure. There are certain feelings of, questions or not being sure about an issue. The Moon is here. I think that there was a lot of emotional strain in a situation because of this person's behavior. If you've missed previous messages, it was coming across as an immature person who's causing a lot of turmoil for unnecessary reasons. This led to hidden feelings, heavy feelings, hidden hurts that a person may have had. Queen of Pentacles. Out of this whole spread, if you are anyone, I think it's represented by the Queen of Pentacles. I think that her resources have not been compromised by this interaction, even though it may have been the intention of the interaction to undermine somebody's resources or wealth. And I think that as a counterbalance to that negativity, there is a person or two people coming in, the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Rods, with whom there is a very good connection. This could be a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. And this could be a Sag, Leo, or Aries, but the signs and the genders are flexible. This could be males or females, but there's definitely a very good connection between people. It feels as though good people are coming in. Now, this could be younger people, but this could also represent new people in your life in which you are in a new space and a new environment. And so you were interacting with someone that ended up being quite harsh. I see them walking away with not too much guilt or not too much feeling as though they had done something to cause this. So they didn't learn a lesson from this. I think that I sense from this card arrogance. So they walk away feeling emboldened, like righteous, but that doesn't matter. And I don't think you as the Queen of Pentacles, even if you're a man or another gender, I don't think you care so much. Queen of Pentacles represents, the bottom line. So she cares about the bottom line. She doesn't care so much about dishonest interactions. So she keeps things very simple, sweetheart, KISS, and she does not compromise. Okay. I feel as though this was an issue to do with reputation, where somebody's reputation was being challenged. And I think it's coming from the recklessness of the Page of Swords. And I think that somebody's reputation your reputation was salvaged. So that's the Six of Wands and the Six of Cups. There's someone also coming back around, which is the Knight of Rods. This is someone who shows up and leaves. So there's a real coming and going energy. And I think that this person you may find that they are a fair weather friend, which is a saying that means that somebody comes in with, positive intentions when things are well, but they sort of disappear when things are rocky. So it feels as though you've been in a situation in which there was some stirring of the pot, some conflicts around, but through circumstances, you have gotten through it. Someone that you cared about or someone who you thought was okay, and even someone who you felt bonded to maybe turned out not to be so nice. And there was a loss of positive feelings towards that person. You may have felt the impact of this because you genuinely like this person, and you may have walked away from the situation with some negative feelings. But I also feel as though that was overall the best kind of situation that you could have been in. The Six of Wands to me signifies that whatever conflict that was attached to that situation was resolved and you were vindicated, or somehow your interaction with this person was causing you setbacks socially. Okay. And so this person in particular is probably the best person, the Page of Pentacles in this spread in terms of people to look out for. Now there's two people here, so they may be a couple, the Page of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. So they may be younger than you, but they are both of a friendly nature, and there's like a bonding, friendship, camaraderie, genuine feelings of liking each other and liking who the other people are. And overall, you're on the right path. So I feel as though, without making this too dogmatic, there was this trial that you were under. And the trial was, are you going to make the right decision? Right? And so it was kind of like a test of the soul and choosing your friends wisely, going through that. And maybe you thought someone was in alignment, but they really weren't. But through the right actions, you have kind of clarified whatever the confusion was, and you have come out in a very positive light in the situation. And together you have really formed a much better, you traded a fool for, not a tarot fool, but like a person who was a foolish and careless and rough, for a combination or people who are very kind, and there's a much more who show respect. Okay, so I think that you were showing respect in a situation where that wasn't reciprocated, maybe through carelessness, maybe through immaturity. But now you're making bonds and friends with people who show respect. So you're really coming out of the situation in a positive light. I think that the thing I would watch out for is harboring negative feelings, which is the moon. So really make sure that coming out of this situation, you don't harbor resentments, because then this person would have won. So if they stirred the pot and you hold on to resentments, that can outflow onto other people. So be positive and gracious and show positive regard. And I think that you'll see a very positive outcome in this situation. Thank you for watching. If you want, choose another one. Bye. Hi, everyone. If you chose number 2, here is your message. First, we have the Hermit. Then we have the King of Cups. Then we have the 6 of Cups. Ooh. And then we have the 7 of Swords. Ooh. Anxious attachment, Hermit. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. I was going to say torture. I don't know why. And then we have the 2 of Cups. Okay. And then we have, this looks really nice. It looks like the Ace of Pentacles. And then we have the Tower. I think I picked an extra card, but that's okay. We'll just roll with it. And then we have the 9 of Cups as the outcome. Our bonus card. Ooh, I'm glad I kept it. You have the 4 of Wands. Okay. So it looks as though this is regarding some kind of relationship. Okay. Relationship involving the Hermit and the King of Cups. Now, this could be representative of a Virgo, but not necessarily so. And this could be a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, not necessarily. They may have those transits. And this could be a man or a woman, and this could be a man or a woman, depending on, how things go. At the center, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This situation is going to improve and really change. First of all, the 2 cards that kind of are spooky are the Tower and the 7 of Swords. Avoidant attachment, Hermit, okay? Somebody is probably being avoidant or careful, and that's going to turn around. You see the Hermit is sort of turning away from the King of Cups. So I have a feeling that the Hermit represents a person or an energy who's maybe 1 foot in or 1 foot out of a situation with the King of Cups. And the King of Cups, more than the sign or the gender, represents a person who is all in a situation. They have their feelings really on their sleeve. They really love someone and they're showing that love. Look at the 6 of Cups. So there's no, hiding the feeling. The feeling is right there for everyone on display. And so the Hermit is very dismissive, 7 of Swords. They're maybe avoidant attachment. And so they're not necessarily super easy to deal with. Especially, this is giving like golden retriever energy. And so this is really showing up as a bit of like, avoidant, cold, running away kind of energy. And the 2 of Cups, the King of Cups, look at this. 6 of Cups, 2 of Cups, 9 of Cups. To me, it's very clear where the energy is. There's complete love and complete openness towards someone. And yet, to me, the Hermit keeps running away. Now, there's an Ace of Pentacles saying that there's going to be some kind of change with money, change with resources, maybe money coming in. And I think that's going to lead to considerable transformation in the situation. So I think that maybe the Hermit might turn around, have a turnaround situation and become aware and change things for a good outcome. It feels as though there's a push-pull energy here in a relationship and someone is hesitant or worried about the outcome. Maybe they're afraid of commitment. It looks like maybe a fear of commitment, but there's going to be a good outcome. We have the Wheel of Fortune in the center. Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Gemini, about to enter into Cancer. And so there's this big turnaround of energy and change of circumstances. And I think that we have the extra card of the Four of Wands. This is signifying marriage. So if we read the last line here, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Nine of Cups. Through this material change, financial change of some kind, this really changes the dynamics of everything. There's a material change that changes the dynamics of everything, which is the Tower. And out of that, people, presumably the King of Cups, gets exactly what they want, which is the Nine of Cups. They get their wish fulfillment. And so indirectly, I think the Hermit also gets what they want. The Wheel of Fortune, they get the fulfillment. So the outcome is fulfillment of wishes and hopes, getting the outcome that you want. In a relationship, if somebody's been cold with you or distant, and especially if you feel like your heart has been on your sleeve, in the sense that you've been completely affirmative, golden retriever energy, totally in the situation, totally tolerant of the situation, not turning it down, I think that you're going to see a very positive energy, a positive turnaround. There could be a material condition change, which is the Ace of Pentacles and the Tower. Material condition changes could be an improvement or some kind, I think it's an improvement of material conditions, but it can also represent a sudden change or a sudden need that someone has. This may change how they are interacting in a situation, which will lead to the fulfillment of a desire, the fulfillment of what people want. And I think that the distance that the Hermit is seeking is a part of their process. And I think that it leads to a bigger alignment of how things should be, of how things are supposed to be. Overall, there's no question about the good nature of the relationship. We have the Hermit, the King of Cups, and the Six of Cups. They're either soulmates or they're really well placed together people. For those of you who are not in a relationship, then this can represent a positive alignment as well. So it could be a friend and another friend, a boss and someone who's their employee, two coworkers, all sorts of different relationships. But it does seem more intimate than that, more of a family, close friendship, or a relationship circumstance. I think the bigger picture is coming around full circle. Now, obviously, this reading is happening after a series of other situations. So this is an established relationship. This is not a relationship that just showed up. This is a person who has gotten to the level of care and love and openness. So I think that this person's love has become activated already. And so they're just waiting for someone to match the energy that they're already putting out. But their love wouldn't be activated without good reason. So, this is a situation that they trust. All the love cards are here. Look at this. We have the King of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, and then we have the Nine of Cups and the Two of Cups and the Six of Cups and Four of Wands. There's just such great outcomes in these circumstances. I feel as though something restrictive placed upon the King of Cups is coming to an end through this good luck. Something that was not good in their life is being removed through Jupiter's energy, which is the lucky energy of Jupiter. This is leading to a positive outcome, a positive family, marriage, commitment, happiness, and joy. If you look at the cards more closely, you can see it. There is a radical change in a situation, and a situation becomes fully embodied and becomes alive. So there was something that was stagnant in a situation for a while. Maybe this person started to walk away, but through a series of circumstances, it seems as though there's a very drastic turnaround here. And life begins to grow in this relationship. There is a massive improvement. This is one of the better tarot card readings that I've seen. And it really seems as though people are getting what they want. If you want to choose another one of the two other readings, then please go there now. And thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye. So if you chose 3, here is your message. First, we have the Hanged Man. That's associated with Neptune. Neptune is in Aries. Then we have the Knight of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Then we have the 9 of Rods. Then we have the Knight of Wands. Then we have the Ace of Cups in the center, new beginnings. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune, change in fortune for the better. Page of Cups. The Sun, beautiful cards so far. And then we have Justice. Oh, wow, okay. So this situation involves waiting for an answer, especially for a long time. It looks as though maybe somebody has been waiting for things to change or things to turn around. We have 2 Knights, which involves a situation that happens, a situation evolves, transforms, or needs to shift around. And then the Hanged Man and the Knight of Rods, or the 9 of Wands, represents some kind of situation that you have been waiting through. There have been delays and you have had to wait for a situation to work itself out. There may have been confusion in a situation, or maybe lack of clarity. These Knights are messengers, which to me signifies that things are being said or things are being communicated that change or reframe a situation, such as you're waiting for people to talk or you're waiting for people to have communication in order to transform what is the general way in which how a situation is defined. At the center of the situation is the Ace of Cups. This is a new beginning. The beginning you have been waiting for is here. It does involve some kind of settling of the score, and I don't mean vengeance. It comes across as settling the score or leveling of the playing field to make something fair. Information comes through that is genuine in nature, something someone didn't know, which is the little goldfish coming out of the cup. So it's an unexpected surprise that the Page of Cups is exposed to, but this is leading to a wonderful situation, a wonderful outcome and excitement. Someone might be coming through with information that is going to lead to great happiness and joy. The Knight of Swords could be a male or female, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, and they have a lot of exciting energy. Oftentimes, the Knight of Swords has to do with a letter carrier, messenger, bringing some good luck and joy. This also adds to the outcome that is positive. But something has to be done and something has to be made fair. And so we have the Justice card as the outcome here. And so the Justice card to me symbolizes that the situation that you have been waiting for, the situation that needs to work itself out or has to be worked out as information flows, clarify issues, is actually happening. It's almost like the right information has to reach the right ears. There has to be communication about a situation for things to happen. Whatever the Knight of Wands brings leads to great luck. So whatever information or change that they initiate leads to luck and transformation. This is almost like being emotionally activated again, especially after a period of considerable isolation or considerable waiting. So waiting for an answer, hoping for an answer, being in a situation that you don't have control over, that you have to kind of abide by and wait. I think you've been waiting a long time. And I think there's like people who are protecting of you or your dignity or your image, and so they come through, or they finally move in some way to improve circumstances, and a fair outcome is achieved. Whatever a person finds here is going to be a lot of good luck. There's something unexpected, something changes the playing field. There's a different dynamic here that becomes activated. Something unexpected comes in, maybe a young person's involved. Maybe this person has Pisces, Cancer, or a Scorpio transit, but they bring with this new energy some kind of factor that is a very big blessing, something very uplifting and positive. I don't feel as though these nights in and of themselves were opposition to progress, or I don't feel like they necessarily held you back, but their movement through the situation is the thing that is actually really helping the situation get unstuck. The Hanged Man used to represent much more than it does now. Self-sacrifice or humbling yourself before something bigger. So knowing that something bigger is at play that you don't necessarily are in charge of, and that you have to kind of go along with the situation as it is happening. So there was a knowing in this situation, knowing that there was not necessarily something that you could do, and you just trusted the process, and that was how the positive outcome happened. The other thing that I'm getting is very much that clarity is being brought to an issue through information. There's a massive emotional turnaround from a circumstance where sort of like bound up and bandaged. Look at these cards here. They look very sullen and repressed and somehow held back. And so that energy is greatly turning around. And that energy is turning around for much better outcomes. Now we have the Libra card, Justice. It feels as though a situation in some way had an element of injustice to it. And so that there's a massive turnaround to something being fair and honest, bright, coming into the dynamic and having a big turnaround. Whatever circumstances have been going on, there is a massive improvement. Some of it's somewhat unexpected, but it's the right thing for the situation to happen. It does involve possibly the interjection of a younger person, possibly water sign person, who brings light into the situation. They are a principled person, and so they're motivated by principle. I think they may have seen you restricted or held back or somehow unable to get free of a situation, and they bring into the situation new force, new energy, hope. It feels as though you have been almost waiting for someone to put trust in you in a situation. And so for a time, maybe there wasn't so much trust. I think that there's like this, there's this motion of clarity being brought through. These people almost feel like not necessarily people you know, but people who are in a situation, and in that situation, they are affecting change. So something is switching towards a fair and equitable dynamic. Whoever you are, you have been waiting for a positive outcome, and I think that positive outcome is finally coming to you. I think it's coming through this clarity of information, an awakening of emotions, a turnaround in circumstances that leads to clarity in a situation. It's almost like you've been waiting for the truth to come out, and finally the truth is coming out in a positive way. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is number 3. If you want to watch 2 or 1, just go to that part of the video. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.